changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration to make you simply happy. It's Friend Friday, and today I'm excited to introduce you to Ricky Paull Goldin, actor turned television producer and someone who is very important to the Chicken Soup for the Soul family. Ricky, welcome to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much. And, I like the thing that you say at the beginning where, about just being happy. And isn't that all and if we can experience that, isn't that all we all really want? So I'm thrilled to be here with you.
And that's what you do as an executive producer for us on our television shows. But I think your most important production was when you executive produced Kai, who was your 6-year-old
yes.
son.
Yes, my best project ever.
Right, with your co-executive producer, Greta Monahan.
Yes. Well, I got smart, Amy, because I was a little bit more of the bachelor kind of guy. And Greta Monahan, and a lot of people know her from the Rachel Ray show. She's been on there from the beginning as Rachel's. I always say Oprah's got Gail, and Rachel Ray has Greta. But I finally met somebody. She's just smarter than me and more fascinating than me, and kept my attention. Amy, you know what it's like when you've got a big old cat and they're on a living room chair, and they're kind of like they've seen it all, done it all. You can do whatever in front of them, and they're not hitting the little feather that you're dangling in front of them. I kind of felt like that guy in a cat. And then when Greta came along, she rocked my world. And, of course, now we have a 6-year-old, and I don't remember my old life at all.
And now, for Chicken Soup for the Soul, you're executive producing Project Dad, which is a perfect fit with your new life as a father.
You nailed it. I like to do projects now. Look, I've acted. I'm an actor. I was an actor at 3 years old. On a television show, Romper Room, by the way. Just giving Romper Room a plug. It's been gone for a million years. But you never really stop acting. I'll be an actor till I'm dead. But when you can get involved in making more than, as an actor, you're in one show. But as a producer, you can be in several shows. So you can be a piece of something and the creative on 20 shows. And now with Project Dad, I find myself attracted to programming and projects that are kid-centric because this, and not everything I'm going to do is going to be that, but I find that this is a secret club, being a dad and being a parent, that nobody really tells you about. They don't tell you all the amazing stuff, and they don't tell you some of the bad stuff or the stuff that's difficult, like lack of sleep and all of that. So I really don't remember my life before this, Amy, and I also want to make and be involved in projects that I would be proud of, and that my son can walk in and see on television, and maybe even like heaven forbid that because they're such tough little critics.
Mm-hmm. Well, a couple of weeks ago we talked to Donnell Rawlings on the podcast, and we were talking about his experience on Project Dad and how he was learning to appreciate Stephanie and all that she does in raising their son. So I know you appreciate Greta already. Do you appreciate her even more now that you've been producing Project Dad?
Yes, and I'll tell you, one of my first things, Amy, was when Kai was little. He was like a year and a half old, maybe in 14 months or something. And Greta had to go to England shooting Rachel Ray for something, and there was no caregiver or helper, and I had Kai. And I think I must have been shooting all my children at the time. But I came home from work on Friday. Now, Greta wasn't come home till Monday. And I remember by Sunday, Greta called me, and I maybe had a little attitude in my voice. And she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "What's wrong? I've had Kai alone, a 1-year-old, alone for 48 hours by myself." And I thought I had a right to say something like that. Because you do have to give all of yourself to your child, or to one of your, to your kids when you're all in like this. And I think that watching these dads in Project Dad have to be all in is really fun thing to watch. And you're like, well, aren't they all in every day? And I think the thing that resonates here, Amy, is that these are celebrity dads, and I'm going to be really honest and say, as an actor, you can be quite the narcissist. In fact, I think it's protocol. I think it's a prerequisite that you, I'm not saying love yourself, but you definitely are the product, right? You are the
You're the talent.
You're the goods. And so you are all about yourself until you have your own flesh and bones in front of you, and you have to take care of them, and their needs have to come before yours. A big eye-opener.
Yeah, because baby Kai is the talent when he's alone with his dad. It doesn't matter who his dad is. It doesn't matter how many Emmys you got, how many Clio Awards, how many decades you've been on a million TV shows, a million Broadway shows. I'm sure everybody has seen Ricky Paull Goldin on something somewhere, whether it's on the stage or on the screen. So yeah, let's talk about Project Dad, because it's on TLC right now. It's on Tuesdays, and you can check your local listings to see exactly when.
Yeah, definitely do that. Check your local listing, DVR it, whatever.
We're 3 episodes in. We've got 3 celebrity dads. We've got Donnell Rawlings, the comedian. We got DJ Scribble, the DJ everybody's heard of. And we have Daniel Cosgrove, who just left a long career in soaps. And he's been on other stuff, too, like Billions.
And a bunch of movies and stuff. You know him,
Yeah, you know him. You recognize him as soon as you see his face. So you have these 3 dads who are always on the road, and then they're off the road. And Donnell's handling a 1-year-old, and Daniel's handling 2 of his 4 children, and DJ Scribble's handling 3 children. And I cannot stop laughing. The episode when Scott is DJ Scribble, when Scott's 2 boys put his little daughter in the dog crate, and then
yes.
he would turn around and she'd be back in the dog crate again, and they just kept putting her in the dog crate, and I just laugh so hard every time I see that episode.
And not only that, I mean, the fact with these celebrity dads, it's they're getting to do things that not all dads can do. I mean, who gets to rent a private jet and take your kids out of town because you're working? And I think that the dads like Scribble, for example, and I grew up with DJ Scribble, and I mean, you don't get to see his, I mean, on MTV and stuff, but getting to see him in his real environment and his children is a blast. And I'm just saying, when you're dealing with celebrity dads, and he's going to run off on the weekend and rent a jet and bring his 3 children in to do a DJ convention, and he's the big star, I think that even Scribble forgot the rules for a minute of this show, that no, you're supposed to stop working, or you're supposed to make the time for your kids. And he had this thing where he was always working no matter what. And even if his wife Dana's home, he's got a studio there. He's got surveillance cameras. And what you're talking about is his kids were locking the little one constantly in the dog crate. And him being in the studio and watching on the monitor, that's not being present and accounted for, right? That's still being an absentee landlord.
Yeah, and I'm sure he heard about that, too, from his wife.
Oh, yeah, and it's documented now, so now the whole world can see it.
That show is so funny, the way the wives have not that much faith in their husbands and leave them a million Post-it notes and lists, and the husbands are claiming they don't need any of this, and they need every single bit of it just to make sure the kids actually eat.
Amy, look, let's be honest. Dads are not that trustworthy in mom's eyes, most of us, I'd say, and I don't know what it is that our partners or our wives out there think that we just can't handle it. But, coming from the dad's point of view, we just have our own way of doing things. And the male way versus the female way, listen, trust me, we know that mom's way is really the right way. But I think there is a bone in us, a gene in us, that thinks like we always want to be a little bit more fun. We always want to be like, when it's time to go to bed, Dad's like, oh, you heard what Mom said? It's like, buddy, if I could do anything for you to save you right now,
yeah, that's
I would.
Just a cop-out. You guys have it so easy.
So, or the moms have it harder. and to try to break that in dads and you have to break because I'll tell you, if you're tending to 3 kids or 4 kids or 2 kids or a newborn, you quickly and it's not just to take them out for fun. You have them the 24 hours, the 48 hours, the 72 hours, whatever it is. Then it's on. Now it's real time. And you'd actually see the dads get exasperated on the TV show, and we try to stay as low profile as possible with all the cameras. This show, as you know, Amy, this is a huge hit over in Korea with 10 million people a week watching it, and it's like the number 5 or 6 show in China as well, because they're getting to see a glimpse of the dads in their lives and their the way they live and their children. But the children are the stars, undoubtedly, and we're hoping that the dads are making lifelong adjustments. I mean, they're having a blast on the show, but adjusting the way that they actually look, like the lens that they look through with their own kids as well,
Well, I was reading about what this show has done for parenting in Korea, and I read some articles that said that the show, which has been on the air for a few years in Korea, has absolutely caused a measurable improvement in the parenting techniques of fathers in Korea, that they're much more involved with their children than they were before the show went on the air.
Isn't that cool?
It
That's
is,
really cool.
because they're seeing a great example, and they're seeing that the fathers can have fun and that it's okay to make mistakes. Your kids will survive it, and you shouldn't be afraid to try to step in. I think a lot of fathers are afraid to try. They say to themselves, well, I won't do it right, and my wife will criticize me, and my kids will know I don't know what I'm doing, so I just won't try. And I think that Project Dad on TLC shows dads that it's okay to try. Your kids will survive it. Your wife will actually appreciate you for it. Right. And I think the wives will see that by trying, the husbands will appreciate them more, so they'll let the husbands try more often to take care of the kids.
And Amy, not for nothing, but it's really good for the dads to learn that we're not just your best friend. We have to be your dad, and we have to and it's not just about like who wrote rules with an iron fist, but it's just about seeing how your kids, listening to your kids. Scribble, for example, he is constantly telling the kids his ideas, but he wasn't listening to their ideas. Daniel Cosgrove said the same thing. I'll tell you something. I knew Daniel Cosgrove. He was on All My Children with me, actually, and on Guiding Light. We did that show together, too. And I never got to meet his kids. I never met his kids. I knew he had 2 kids and 3 kids and 4 kids. I never met his wife. His whole life was very private. He's a wonderful actor. And I'm like, you have a secret family somewhere, and we've never met your wife. We don't know, never get to meet your kids. So to see him alone with the kids, because he's always been on the road, and I think the last 2 years he's been commuting to L.A. to do Days of Our Lives on NBC, while he's back here and his family is on the East Coast. So to watch him, and then to watch Donnell Rawlings with his one, he talks to that 1-year-old like the 1-year-old's a 25-year-old.
I love that. I did that with my kids. I never talked to them in baby language. My kids knew what the word non-negotiable meant when they were 2 years old.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to steal that, actually, non-negotiable, because Kai is at that age, Amy, that everything is we were in the big, like, Target or something yesterday, and he must have had 25 requests. And
you know what? I used to take my kids to FAO Schwartz when it was still there. And I told them it was a museum. I told them it was a toy museum, and that we just went there to look at things and touch them.
Genius.
And they didn't know you could actually purchase anything. So try that.
Perfect. That's probably why they're out of business, Amy.
Oh. Well, listen, it was great having you on today. Everybody should watch Project Dad, because we have had so much fun at Chicken Soup for the Soul making this show with Ricky and his business partner, Derek. The show is terrific.
Show, and just like Chicken Soup, it really has a beautiful soul. We're super proud of it. It's such a Chicken Soup for the Soul original. So I'm super proud of it too, Amy. I do hope, listen at home. Just go to your local listing and DVR it. Watch it at your leisure, however you need to do it. But it'll definitely make you laugh, and it'll make dads think. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for listening today, everyone. I'm Amy Newmark, and the next time we get together will be Motivational Monday, and we'll be talking about how you can tweak your perspective if that New Year's resolution just isn't working out for you.